So I came across an X post earlier today that was heavily critical of Marques Brownlee, in particular this video here. I'll come back to the video and the post in a minute. Now, just to say that I've watched Marques for many years. I've found his videos to be extremely useful, extremely in-depth, and so on. And again, I'll come back to my thoughts on that in a minute. But it does raise questions about what we can and can't say online, shouldn't say, whether there's any ethical and moral responsibilities of doing so just because you have 18.6 million subscribers. I don't. Marques does. I wish I had 18 million subscribers. Hit the subscribe button. Maybe we'll get there. I don't even have but 1 million yet. I have, and I'm very grateful for, over 400,000 as I sit here today. But let me show you this post and let's get into it. This post from Daniel Vasallo said here, and I quote, "I find it distasteful, almost unethical, to say this when you have 18 million subscribers. Hard to explain why, but with great reach comes great responsibility. Potentially killing someone else's nascent project reeks of carelessness." Carelessness, he says in the post here, which is completely missing the point, which I'll explain why in a moment. First, do no harm. Well, that presupposes that anybody giving any message should only do so if it's a positive one. Now, I hate to be the killjoy here, but we can say positive and negative things all the time. Many of you know and watch my channel that I will poke criticism where I find it, I will poke praise where I find it, and I will call it as I see it. Now, as I see this post here, ironically, I find this post from Daniel distasteful and unethical myself because I find that it is wrong, not just because I've watched the video, and I'll explain that in a minute, but to make this sort of criticism of someone else and say that they reek of carelessness. Clearly, Daniel hasn't watched the video. So my criticism of Daniel here is that this post is distasteful, unethical, and careless because it's quite clear that if he has watched the video, he hasn't really watched it with an open mind and taken it into consideration, or worse still, hasn't watched it and is reacting to the headline. Now, yes, headlines and video titles have to be a bit clicky because, well, I blame you lot, because if it's not clicky, you don't click it. That's just the way that it works. The YouTube algorithm, and any other algorithm for that matter, newspapers and so on, they are so adaptive to what you as the viewer watch or as the newsreader clicks to read that only the best, most clicked will float to the top. That's why they have to be clicky. But that said, even the headline here, the title here, which is "The Worst Product I've Ever Reviewed," says Marques Brownlee. That's up to him to decide. If that's what he chooses to use as a title, that's his choice. And as it happens, he goes through and concludes that this is probably one of the worst, or if not the worst product that he's ever reviewed. Paraphrasing, obviously. Now, why do I find that the post is distasteful itself and wrong by itself? Well, simply because I watched this video. I watched it all the way through. I considered it. I rewatched bits of it to just rephrase and see how certain things were said, because certain videos are layered like that. You only notice certain things the second time around. And so I watched it all the way through, and I felt that Marques, as usual, was very careful to highlight all of the positives, the construction, how well it was built, what it does well, the good ideas, and the fact that it was implementing certain things quite well for a device like that, and went to great lengths to speak of the positives first, before going on to all of the negatives. For example, it doesn't connect to your phone. For me, that'd be a deal breaker. Any kind of AI technology device that doesn't connect when it's supposed to be an everyday useful item like that, it's just a bit bizarre. Case in point, for example, I've just bought the DJI, not a sponsored video, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which I find fantastic. And it comes with the transmitter 2, which I also find fantastic. And I have this separate set of these. Now, I also have the original set of these. One criticism people have made is that the original mic doesn't connect with the Osmo. I don't know if that's true. I haven't tested it. But if it doesn't, that would be a criticism. But on the other hand, you could say, well, it's an advancement in technology. The previous one might have connected with the original one and this one not. That doesn't make it a bad product. It's just a fact. It's either a fact that it connects or doesn't connect, and it's a criticism because it's something that it could do, doesn't do, would have been better if it does, but doesn't, whatever. This device apparently does not connect with a smartphone. For me, that would be a deal breaker. There's a few other things that Marques says it doesn't do either. For example, it doesn't connect with Uber, it doesn't connect with Spotify, and often gets things wrong. The battery life is inconsistent. Sometimes it burns through very quickly. Sometimes it just stays warm, whatever. There's all sorts of different criticisms. But for him to have genuine criticism of this product all the way through and come to a conclusion, that is entirely a matter for him, which he's done so in this video, and come to the ultimate conclusion that the title of this video is the worst product I've ever reviewed. Is that defamatory? No, because for one, he's giving you his opinion, he's giving you a very balanced overview, and ultimately he will always say something along the lines of, it is down to you as to what you choose you would buy. And so ultimately this is just his opinion, and he's entitled to his opinion. In fact, one might consider him one of the world's experts on reviewing these technologies and just bringing them to your attention, what he likes about it, what he doesn't like about it. Now, on the one hand, yes, it might totally kill a product by one video. I mean, this video of his had 1.9 million views as I sit here, released yesterday. So, I mean, wowzers, 1.9 million views in a day, criticizing a product as he proclaims to be the worst product ever reviewed. Is that unfair? No, because it's his opinion. He's entitled to his opinion. Now, a lot of people get upset about giving opinions out, but ultimately, that's all it is. It's an opinion. It's neither unethical or distasteful just because Marques has 18 million subscribers. He's earned those subscribers by doing reliable and trustworthy videos that people like to watch, clearly. They subscribe to him to watch those, clearly, and they take on board his opinion. Now, some of the other comments on X also compared this human AI pin with the Apple Pro and the Vision Pro and things like that. Now, completely different products, and some of those posts said that there was no such criticism about the Vision Pro. But on the contrary, I saw just as much criticism from different people about the Vision Pro, and Marques himself said it was a bit too heavy and things like that. So all sorts of criticism. But ultimately, and ironically, I found that post itself to be a bit careless, because either this Daniel didn't watch the video in full and properly consider it, because if he did, he would realize that it's a well-balanced review. In my opinion, it's a very well-balanced review. It goes through a lot of the positives and then gives you the negatives and draws a conclusion. Or worse still, didn't watch the video. I don't know which, but a lot of people might be wondering how far you can go, because a lot of people have been sued for their opinion online, which is a completely baseless and ridiculous claim. Because if it's your opinion and it's based on your own experience or your own facts, you can't be successfully sued for defamation based on your opinion and your experience of that product or service. If it was malicious and wrong, and I know that people do leave negative reviews for companies when they are just not founded, I always say, do not leave this company a bad review, because if you're not a genuine customer and it's not your genuine experience, then it's not a genuine review and you shouldn't leave it. I always do that. And even then I get complaints to say that this company's had negative reviews because they've been mentioned in a video and so on. But if your review is a genuine one based on your own genuine experience, then it is what it is. No one can criticize you for that. It is a genuine review. And finally, and funnily enough, you'll see that the top comment here is, I find this post distasteful, almost unethical. And my response to it was broadly the same. My response was strong disagree. This review is extremely comprehensive and a fair review. Someone unquestionably renowned for tech reviews, Marques Brownlee. It highlighted many of the positive and impressive features of the device before explaining the genuinely deal-breakingly bad aspects of it. Doesn't connect with the phone, doesn't connect with Uber, etc. So I found this post distasteful and potentially unethical and even potentially defamatory of Marques Brownlee, because this post got 4.4 million views. So you can't say that someone else is being unethical and careless when your post is exactly the same. So I felt the need to address that. Leave me your thoughts and comments in the box below, and I'll see you next time.